Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. What happens, good people, what happens when you give idiots power? Well, stupid happens, doesn't it? Stupid happens a lot. And with this SNP Green government, you've seen that. You've seen a lot of stupid, but this one takes the biscuit. Quite literally in the case of the leader of Glasgow Council. She looks like she's had rather a few biscuits. They're hosting a big cycling event and they're saying, oh, come along, look at us. We're virtuous. We're brilliant. We are saintly in what we're doing. We're saving the world by getting people onto bikes because that's the way to save the world. And the trouble is, of course, that these people really are utterly thick. And I don't just mean at the waistline. They are monstrously stupid. This cycling event that is going to save the world is going to produce 20,000 tonnes of carbon emissions in Glasgow. This is the same Glasgow that already had clean air before bringing in the ULEZ, and we know that that's got nothing to do with air quality and everything to do with control. But they've brought in this ULEZ to clean up the air. However, the 20,000 tonnes of carbon emissions that it's going to create will take decades of ULEZ to fix. They would have been better off not introducing the ULEZ zone and just not hosting the event, this cycling event, and the air would have been cleaner for longer. The people of Glasgow, please stop voting for morons. We're going to have a look at this story. You cannot believe how stupid they are. What am I kidding? Of course you're going to believe how stupid they are. We do it all the time. Here goes. So, SNP hypocrisy as cycling event to produce 20,000 tonnes of carbon emissions in Glasgow. Patrick Harvey and Humza Yousaf, a pair of dicks, aren't they, have hailed the UCI World Cycling Championship as good for the environment, but now face criticism from angry drivers in light of a report revealing the truth, the true carbon impact. And it is astounding. There she is. She looks like she's ridden a lot of bikes, doesn't she? She can just imagine her whizzing along, doing her power walking there every day, straight to the fridge. The SNP have been slammed for hypocrisy by drivers as Glasgow's hosting of the World Cycling Championships is set to generate about 20,000 tonnes of carbon emissions. You couldn't make it up. I mean, this is an immense amount, supposedly from people riding bikes, which are supposed to be good for the environment. Duh. Motorists already engaged by the June launch of the low emission zone have called out the SNP-run Glasgow City Council and Scottish ministers, who claim the event will promote the broader benefits of active travel for us all, which help reduce carbon emissions. No evidence of that, of course. And does she look like she's reducing fewer carbon emissions? I suspect in that case, there's an awful lot of emissions. It's now come to light that the biking event taking all over the city is set to create the same amount of greenhouse gases as driving 51 million miles in a diesel car. Unbelievable. What's more, it's been reported that it will take nearly 70 years for the low emission zone to cancel out the extra emissions. There are children yet to be born who will live full lives and die before the low emission zone has cleared up the mess that this one cycling event will cause. You couldn't make it up. Humza Yousaf has been accused of political posturing over the benefits of the 11-day event. No shit, you'd think. What, is he going to go along and go, look at me, this was all me. It was all, look, my idea. I'm going to take all the credit because I'm wonderful. I am Saint Humza. Please, God, help us all. The 2021 race event in Belgium featured 1,204 competitors over 8 days, and according to accountants at Deloitte, the event had a carbon footprint of 2,292 tonnes of CO2 equivalent. Just over half the emissions were competed by the competitors travelling to Belgium. Their report found that more emissions were produced by the freighting of goods, accommodation, fuel for support vehicles, electricity generators, private VIP air travel, on which more later, and commuting by volunteers. Not later in this one, but we're going to have a look at VIP and Nicola Sturgeon in a later video. Keep your eye open for that one. In fact, if you don't want to miss it, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. Anyway, reacting to the First Minister and the GCC comments in light of the emissions report, Ian Taylor, director of the Alliance of British Drivers, said, "If Glasgow and the Scottish Government don't want people generating thousands upon thousands of tonnes of additional carbon emissions, they shouldn't host events like this. The idea any of this is going to inspire behaviour change is posturing in the name of climate politics. Cycle championships will attract people who like cycling. They're not going to motivate people who need a vehicle to travel to work." Equally, the low emission zone in Glasgow is designed to rake in cash from those people who have no alternative but to use their vehicles in the city centre for business, not pleasure. The hypocrisy here is breathtaking. And of course, it's actually aimed only at poor people. It's not aimed at rich people. And any policy that involves money is always aimed at pushing poor people down. Otherwise, because rich people just go, don't care, £12.50 a day, don't care. Poor people, £12.50 a day, major part of their income. So let's not make it £12.50 a day. Make anything like this 1 hour's labour. How much do you earn in an hour? And that should be the fee. Not the £12.50 fee, but 1 hour of money. So if you are someone who earns £1,000 an hour, then it costs you £1,000. That would be fairer, wouldn't it? But that's not what this is about, of course. It's all about keeping the poor down so that they can kettle them and build their ghettos, their 15-minute ghettos. Anyway, Deloitte believes their emissions total was probably higher given the event attracted 1 million spectators. And in Scotland, the event has been hailed as the biggest ever. As many as 10,600 cyclists, 4,000 marshals are registered. Most of the emissions come from the essential travel, leading experts to expect the total to balloon to over 20,000 tonnes. Low emission zones were introduced to curb harmful emissions by preventing older vehicles from entering the city. Surely you should be preventing dirty vehicles from entering the city. An old car may produce fewer emissions than a new car, because an old 1.3 Corsa is going to be a lot cleaner than a brand new 6.3 litre Mercedes-Benz. And yet, strangely, the 6.3 litre Mercedes-Benz can just breeze through because it's a new car by rich people. Nothing to do with nothing to do with emissions, is it? Anyway, the scheme predicted that 300 tonnes of carbon emissions would be saved a year, meaning that if it runs for 68 years, it will eventually cancel out the additional CO2 created by the cycling championship. Isn't it a load of old guff? It really is. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Mr. Yousaf, the lying two-faced toad, said this is a great opportunity to promote the broader benefits of active travel for us all. I want to see him on his bike. This is a man, remember, who can't even use a scooter without falling off. What is he talking about? He's a hypocrite of the first water, isn't he? Get active travel. Go on, look at him. Scoot, scoot, fall. Honestly. He says, while the world's elite cyclists come to Glasgow, more and more Glaswegians are choosing cycling for ordinary journeys. Citation, I don't believe that's true. And certainly it's the elites that don't pay for this shit. It's only the poor that pay for this shit. He says these activities can improve mobility and that will help personal health and well-being, but also the effort to tackle Glasgow's carbon emissions. I think perhaps you need to have a quick word with the leader of the SNP-led Glasgow City Council. She looks like she needs a little help on the old healthy lifestyle front, doesn't she? Scottish Greens Oompa Loompa Patrick Harvey last month led a parliamentary debate that hailed the event as an opportunity to encourage more people to choose active travel. And did he tell Parliament at the time about the extra 20,000 tonnes of carbon emissions? Did he bugger? Well, he probably did, but he didn't tell them about that. That's a different thing. That's a different video, and I ain't doing that one. Anyway, Glasgow City Council said low emission zones are not primarily targeted at reducing carbon emissions. Oh, that's true. They're money raisers and kettling agents. but harmful air pollutants such as particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide. They're changing the rules, aren't they? They're changing the rules to change because, oh, look, we've been caught out on this one. Quick, change it. Oh, therefore invents new reason. A bunch of lying two-faced toads, aren't they? Every single one of them. Oh, my God. Anyway, she was unavailable for comment, had a pie in her mouth. And you don't want to listen to him anyway because he just lies. He always wears a heart and tie to convince people that he's genuinely Scottish. We can see how genuinely Scottish you are, mate. Anyway, I shall stop there and come up. They talk a good game, don't they? But you know, at the end of every rainbow flag is a little leprechaun like Patrick Harvey sitting on a crock of shit. And that's all this cycling event is. It's an absolute crock of shit. And it's going to damage the city. It's damaging the reputation. They're all going to go and praise it. All these people, it's worthy, it's great, it's worthy. None of these people are going to get on a bike. None of them. You can't imagine her getting on a bike, and certainly not Umza Yousaf. Never in a million years. But they've got to look at it. Oh, look at aren't we virtuous? Aren't we wonderful? And there's Patrick Harvey going, because nobody can understand a bloody word that the little tit is saying. But he's going on and he's praising it and that. But he's not mentioning how damaging it is for the environment. You'd think him being a green would be opposed to this sort of thing. Have you seen how much carbon is going to be removed? Maybe we should not host it. What an absolute two-faced, hypocritical bunch of complete and utter wankers each and every one of them is. Anyway, I shall stop there. You don't need me to tell you how bad they are. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't you go and dare watch this event. Don't watch it. Just don't. Because it'll kill you with all that poisonous air that it's causing. Like all these virtuous bean-eating vegans farting their way silly through the centre of Glasgow. Until next time, goodbye.